Welcome to the Good Karma Sport Fishing Podcast. I'm your host, Captain Ryan Van Fleet.
And welcome to the Success Codes Podcast. I'm your host, Melinda Van Fleet. Well, Happy New Year, Ryan.
Yay, Happy New Year, everybody.
Yay. Well, we had a super fun kickoff to the new year this morning, didn't we?
That was awesome.
It was really amazing.
A lot of fun.
So we're going to cover a few things in the podcast today. This is a bonus episode for me this week. And it's a podcast episode for Ryan before he starts a very busy week again on the water. Fingers crossed the weather holds out. But we thought we'd start by sharing about our adventure this morning. Today is January 1st. And my very good friend here in the Keys that I have known since we moved here for the most part, Elizabeth McCadie and her husband, Brian McCadie, invited us on their brand spanking new glass bottom boat that they had made, and they started a business this year. It started around Memorial Day, I'd say, down at Robbie's Marina in Islamorada, and the boat is called Transparensea, which is the coolest name, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's Transparensea, S-E-A, so very clever, very cool. And what we have as a tradition here in the Florida Keys, and they probably have it other places too, and it is called the Blessing of the Fleet. And you have to kind of get up bright and early, get on your boat, and get your boat over to Whale Harbor Marina. And they have a pastor who does each boat individually, blesses your boat. So you say who you are and you give a little blessing. The captain speaks, so Captain Brian spoke. And then the pastor will then say a blessing after that. And each boat kind of goes up to Whale Harbor and then turns around. And it's just such a magnificent experience. It's something Ryan and I did with the Good Karma when we first started our business in 2012. So we haven't done it in a really long time, and it was just really amazing to be a passenger, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And to be on their boat. So we want to talk about their boat and give it a major plug for our audience and anyone that stumbles upon this podcast, because it is just really, really cool. So I'm going to let Ryan talk for a little bit about this, and then I'll pipe in for anything that I think he misses. But there you go.
Well, I think what it made it so unique was I've been on large vessels before, as far as tour boats go, sightseeing boats in the past, but this one is special because it's equipped with two Seakeeper 3s.
Yeah, and Ryan has one.
And I have one. And I have to tell you what, it just made the looking through the bottom of the boat experience into the glass and the coral, it's like amazing, because it was a little windy out there this morning.
Yeah.
So it made it so comfortable. But what was really cool beyond the boat itself was looking at the coral. And we were over Chica Rocks this morning. And one thing that we seen was the recovery from the coral bleaching, which was awesome. And nobody's talking about the recovery from the coral bleaching. And because these boats are out there almost every day or every other day, they're seeing the recovery of places like the shallow water corals, like the Chica Rocks, which was completely bleached out all summer. But the color is coming back on most of the rock. And the sea life is there, which is very cool. And after that, we went to the Blessing of the Fleet, which was amazing. It's good to see that traditions are still there in this day and age, and to see generations of boats that have been passed down from through family members, and some of the greatest fishermen in the world have passed through the Whale Harbor Bridge through the Blessing of the Fleet every year over generations. So we went out to the reef and we went out to Alligator Light. And the visibility was awesome, and you could see the grouper channels as far as where the groupers were sitting, and it was just it's just fun to see from the top side to see how all these little channels and how the fish sit, and the schools of yellowtail and the different fish schools swimming together. So it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, and then it was just very comfortable. It was just a nice, and plus it was nice that I didn't have to drive. So I actually got to fall asleep driving back, and I don't think I've ever slept on a boat And I have not slept on a boat in, like, I can't even begin the last time to tell you when I've actually got to take a nap on a boat. So it was really nice and it was a great morning, a good way to kick off the year. Plus, I got to hang out with Melinda on the boat without the stresses of getting off the boat, cleaning the boat, doing all this stuff, taking care of the clients, all that stuff. We just got to get off the boat and leave, which was really nice.
Yeah, so. Yeah. I can't even say enough. I truly going to be very adamant that if you are coming to the Keys, or if you even live here, you need to book a trip with them. And I know their other captain, Captain Jenna, is also very knowledgeable. But it was really cool for me to hear, Brian talk, Captain Brian. And he's the one that mentioned the bleaching and, was talking about the grouper. And, he has so much knowledge of fishing for so long because he's a captain like Ryan here, but even longer and with more experience. He used to also run the Captain Michael, which is the huge party boat out of Robbie's Marina. And, you learn so much when you go on trips like this. And I also know they have a special trip that is narrated by Brad Bertelli, who's a Florida Keys historian, very well-known author. And that's just a separate option, too, like a separate trip Elizabeth was explaining to me. And it was just really, really cool. We saw a pod of dolphins, swam all around the boat for quite a while. We think we spotted a couple going under the boat, which was very rare. That was super cool. We saw just schools of fish, all the yellowtail that we saw, just huge, swarms of yellowtail. I was laughing to Ryan. I'm oh, I bet you'd love to, catch them up someday when they're legal size. It was just beautiful. We saw so many different types of fish. Just for the boat ride itself, I know some people get quite particular if conditions aren't perfect. I'm gonna say people, it's just like fishing, right? You just go and sometimes if the conditions aren't absolutely perfect, just enjoy the ride. Just enjoy being on the water. Like Ryan said, he didn't have to drive the boat, so it's just enjoyable just to hang out. It's such a smooth ride. There's a lot of space on this boat. It's just really, really amazing. And it was just such a great experience. Their tours are 2 hours long each. It's $75 for adults, $60 for teenagers. I want to say maybe 4 to 18 is the range there. And then under 4 is free. You can book online. It's just a really seamless, easy trip to take, and they run in the day and at the night time, which is extremely rare. I interviewed Brian and Elizabeth for the Upper Keys Weekly, and I'll put that link to the newspaper in the show notes. And Brian explained how he had the idea to put lights on the bottom of the boat, which is extremely rare. There's no other boats in the United States, to his knowledge, that have lights underneath so they can go out at night. So it's just such a cool thing to do down here in the Keys. You can bring some beers or not. It's just, there's not a lot of activity down here at night, to be honest with you. And so it's just a really great nighttime activity for people, for families, for couples to do that's a little different. Get out on the water without getting wet and just enjoy a 2-hour boat ride and learn a little bit and see a little bit. And, just really relax. So we'll put the link to that article in the show notes so you can read more. And it's just really easy to book a trip with them. It was truly amazing. Ryan was like, we're going back. We're going to go back in the day, and we want to definitely try a night trip too, so we can get that experience. And I definitely would love to hear the Florida historian Brad Bertelli, his trip too. So we'll probably be going back. That'll become our date this year. Is to
it's a hell of a lot. I'll be honest with you, it's a hell of a lot of fun. You could go out for a couple hours after dinner.
Yeah.
It's
not the biggest commitment.
It's not a big commitment. That's what it is. Yeah. That's what I think that's a big sell for me, is that it's not a big commitment.
Yeah.
And it's a nice because it's you get to go out to Alligator Light, then see the lighthouse there, and you've got some really good coral that's in close down there. So for like the Chica Rock Sanctuary, so there's a couple different options for windy days down there. You got Chica Rocks, and then you got Alligator Light, really good coral, lots of fish to see, and the reef is fairly close down there, so it's a short ride. It's just a nice experience. So and it's just comfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, you're coming down to the Keys, and really there's not a lot to do except hang out in your hotel room.
Yeah.
So when you're not fishing.
Yeah.
So there's no beaches. You can hit the pool. And,
the surprise of the Keys is that there's really no beaches here. Yeah. They're man-made beaches.
Yeah.
But so just add this to your list. If you're listening to this podcast, put this on your list. If you live here, make it a nice thing to do once in a while, to get out of the house, add something to your dinner date, spend another 2 hours after you go to Chef Michael's or what's the other one? The Ziggy's, or we like the Chica, wherever you go to dinner, then, pop on down to Robbie's Marina and take a boat ride. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
It's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you can feed the tarpon down there and all that stuff. And,
yeah. Because if you've never been to Robbie's in general, like, that's just a huge destination, and probably besides like Theater of the Sea, I'd say is one of the more robust destinations in the Keys, meaning that there's a variety of things to do. So most people know to go to Robbie's because there's just a lot of things to do at that one location, a lot of options. So it's cool.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes, cool. It's well worth checking out, and I'll definitely be going back.
Yeah. He had a big smile on his face after.
Yeah.
So
I'm not impressed very easily.
Yeah. You get a little jaded after you live someplace for a long time, and you're also in this industry in terms of like tourism, fishing, however you want to bucket it. You do get a little jaded. I know I get jaded within the coaching industry for sure. So you don't like to be like that, but I think we're only human and it happens. So when you're really like over the top, impressed and surprised and delighted. That sounds like a fun word for 2024. Yeah. Delighted. Yep. Then, it just really makes your day. It kicks off your year. So yeah. So check it out. So we also want to talk about what we have going on for 2024. 2023 was an amazing year of learnings, of getting grounded, really fine-tuning pivots and additions and different things in both of our businesses at the coaching level. So Ryan, if you've been following our podcast, did a lot of changes within his community in 2023. I added a high E70 energy sessions to my coaching practice, really cleaned up some different things. I learned that, really like the people that I help and that I'm connecting with, what they are looking for, and really kind of cleaned out some other things that didn't make sense in my business. And those are also things that I bring to the table as a business coach, is really helping people see that too, like what's working, what's not working. And sometimes we have to cut cords on things that we think are, no. You have hope, right? It's going to produce, and you have hope, and it still doesn't. So I think that happens with everybody. So definitely a little bit of that too. But in 2024, we're rolling.
Yeah, for 100%.
Yeah.
I launched. We'll talk more about it this week, but I launched knowledge calls. This would have been last week I launched it. It was a soft launch because I've just been super busy with my fishing charters and the way my schedule has been. So knowledge calls are a 1-hour call with a Q&A, and what happens is you go on to goodkarmafishingtackle.com, you purchase a knowledge call, and then you email me and you let me know what you'd like to email me, say, hey, I purchased your course, and then you just say what you want to have your call about. Do you want to have a discussion about wahoo and tides? You want to have a discussion about mutton snapper, when and where? Just things like that. I don't want to go into the nature of how I'm going to teach you that, because it's proprietary. It's how I'm going to show you and the information that I'm going to give you, because it is proprietary to Good Karma Sport Fishing. So, which I'll be talking a lot about proprietary information this coming year and educating a lot of you guys that are creators, that are charter boat captains, and as well as business owners. So we're going to be really talking a lot about proprietary information this year. And that's going to be something that, you guys are going to be all going to learn about. So.
And then you doubled the size of your group.
I doubled the size.
Very exciting.
Double the size of the GSK fishing club, private fishing club. The cost of the fishing club is $279 a month, and what we do in the group is awesome. It's we meet Tuesdays, 2 Tuesdays a month, and the first Tuesday of the month we do a lesson. And then the second Tuesday of the month is an in-depth Q&A about the lesson. So there's a lot of discussion. The guys get a chance to answer all the burning questions because I know you all have questions. Everybody does. And you guys search hours and hours and hours on the internet looking for answers. And you're not going to find them nowadays. You are not. Because guys like me know that that's what you're looking for. So if you want to take it to the next level, then you're more than happy to sign up for my fishing club and get your questions answered. Yeah,
it's amazing. Yeah. All the guys that were in the first year re-signed, which is a huge testament. And then you doubled the size going into this year.
Yeah, and then I doubled the size going into this year. Mm-hmm. So it's awesome. It's great to see, and it's a really good group of professional individuals that are in the group.
Yeah. So. And something that Ryan and I have been talking about a lot, because I hear things out there, and Ryan hears things too, especially after COVID. A lot of people have slumped in terms of their mindset, a lot of struggle with emotional health, however you want to bucket it. You can say it's mental health. You can say it's some depression. And as a female, making new friends is normally kind of easy. Girls can easily say to another girl or woman, however you want to put it, I flip back and forth, hey, you want to go grab a coffee, or you want to go to lunch, or you want to go movie. It's not anything weird to do that. It's very normal. It's a normal thing. You meet someone, you're like, hey, you want to meet up for lunch someday? And the other person's like, sure. But guys don't really do that. So I've never really seen that. It's not a common thing. And the fishing world also is extremely competitive, filled with a lot of envy and trying to one-up, the Joneses. And in this community, it's just so great to see men have a place to go where it's collaborative. They're laughing. I sit in the other room and I hear Ryan laughing, and they're sharing fishing stories and fishing tips. So if you're someone out there that you feel kind of alone, but you love to fish, and you're a recreational angler, really look into this, because honestly, I'm just speaking up on this because I see this as such a huge win out there. For $279 a month, and you can come and go. There's no long-term commitment here. But like I said, everyone has stayed in the group, so it's kind of silly to think that you would want to just leave after a month. But it's 2 nights a month, and they're recorded, so even if you can't make it, you can watch to learn the recordings. It's just a great community. It really is.
Right.
It's Ryan's favorite thing. When I asked him what's his favorite thing, he's like, I love my group. It's his favorite thing.
Yep, it's my favorite thing. I had to make some changes last year with the groups, and but this is awesome. I love it.
Yeah. I think the way it's structured now really makes sense.
Yep.
And sometimes we all have to go through that. I mean, I've had to go through that too. I have 2 groups now. I have one, the Wealthy Women's Society, which is a mastermind community group that is more for women who need to sell for a living. So you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, you're a coach, you need to sell for a living. So that's 2 nights a month. And then I also created another new group that is just one night a month, and that is for anyone, men or women, and you don't have to be a business owner, and that's called the New Codes Collective, and that is for spiritual people who want to level up their manifestations, who have goals. It can be goals in terms of their life, in terms of their health, their wellness, their job. They want to find a new job. They want to find a new relationship. And that is my other group that I'm starting. And I just think these groups and communities that are out there, and there's lots of different groups and communities, are just so important nowadays.
I think it's
like crucial. It is crucial to find groups like this that you feel like you belong and can really learn and grow from.
Right. And for me, I'm honestly, guys, I'm very introverted. I'm like,
Ryan's extremely introverted.
I'm very introverted.
And I'm an ambivert.
Yeah, and Melinda is like
I can go back and forth.
Polar.
So I'm an ambivert.
Yeah, an ambivert.
Yeah. If anyone knows what an ambivert is, because not many people do, it's surprising. I can turn it on, like I have a lot of energy and I do love people and I can turn it on, but for a short window, and then I need to take a nap. So like I took a nap this afternoon after this morning. So so that's an ambivert. You can go back and forth.
I don't like to be out in big crowds. I really don't. I don't like to go to festivals, concerts,
big things.
Yeah, back when I was younger, I did, but honestly, now I'm like, and I didn't really. I thought I did back then, but I really didn't because I just was not comfortable. But what's great is that I just didn't want to be in those social situations, so I just don't want to be in them anymore.
Yeah.
So what's so awesome is that about this group is that you're at your house. Yeah. We're doing it from Zoom, and you don't we can come on. You come on for some of the meeting is an hour, sometimes 2 hours.
Yeah, you typically go about an hour and a half.
Typically about an hour and a half, something depending on the topic, and then the question and answer. Sometimes then you look at your watch. You're like, oh man, the discussion went on for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, So what I found is that I have all this stuff on recordings, and then I have a library now of stuff. So do the guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So instead of watching a YouTube video that is dragging out its time so it can make more money, people, that is what they do. That is how YouTube works. With like maybe one tip or nugget buried somewhere, and Lord knows if the person who's creating this video is even an expert, you can join a community and spend your time more wisely, be able to ask questions, and really increase your catch rate out there and save money and time. It's like incredible.
Yeah.
It's such an incredible thing.
Yeah, it's all about like, catching fish in the end and it's like I tell people nowadays, it's like for myself, I get up in the morning, I want to do one thing that really helps me before I go to work personally. And that's not watching a video of somebody else fish. So I'm working on some content, and I'm working on just making myself better. And that's what this group is all about. It's there to help you get better with knowledge, like useful knowledge that's going to save you time and money. And the camaraderie that's there, the guys being able to fish together and having relationships. So with like-minded people.
Yeah.
So.
And there's two other aspects that Ryan and I have been talking about behind the scenes that I wanted to also mention on this podcast, because I think they're really important for people to understand. And number one is sometimes people will be like, oh, well, I'm already in another group, right? So in the fishing community, we know there's a couple other groups, but there's not a ton, but it doesn't even matter, because I have been in this lane as a student, in the coaching lane with groups and masterminds and one-on-ones and laser sessions, and I've done all the things for years, and I do a variety of things. And sometimes I'm like complete with a group or a teacher, so then I move on. So I challenge everyone, if you have that mindset where you're like, nope, I'm already in so-and-so's group, that's amazing. And if you feel like continuing in that group still, go for it. But you may someday go, I want to learn from someone else. There's so much more to learn. and this other person has a different style of teaching, different style of program, a different style of fishing. And so try another group, even if it's not ours. Like, try someone else's group too. I'm talking this for the collective, because if you automatically go, oh, I'm already in so-and-so's group, that's actually a lack mindset. If you're like shutting something down without like going, oh, well, maybe not today, but maybe someday I'd be open to that. So really looking at that and seeing, where is that stemming from, and why are you doing that right away, is something to really be aware of. And also kind of the same thought process with one-on-one private coaching versus a group. Again, I do both. I hire a one-on-one coach for different things that I need help with, and I'm in several groups. I'm in 3 groups heading into 2024, and they're all different. And I still may decide to call on one of my private mentors if I need help with something. I might be like, I'm going to book a one-on-one session with this coach because I think they can help me through this and help me move the needle faster here and gain some momentum. They have more knowledge than me in this area. And so I do that, because a group experience is very different from a one-on-one experience. So you have to look at, like, what are your goals and your personality, and how comfortable do you feel asking things in a group, because sometimes you may want to ask certain questions in a group, but certain questions you may want some more attention to, and that really isn't conducive to a group's idea. So you may be like, I'm going to also book Captain Ryan for the knowledge call because I need to really deep dive into how to tie line, for example, right? And that may not be a topic for the group setting. So then you would book the one-on-one call with Ryan to learn more about tying knots and line and what line to use for different fish, because line is very important. So you have to then use your discernment to go, okay, this is really good for this and this is really good for that. And all knowledge is power. All knowledge is power. So I don't want anyone to think like, oh, I'm already in that, so I wouldn't look at that. No, you should look at that someday. Maybe it'll call to you, maybe not, and maybe there's other groups out there that could also be part of this equation. So be open to it.
Yep, be open to it, and it's just a good thing.
Yeah, and Ryan does this, quite frankly. He's said this before. Ryan does this because he didn't have access to stuff like this.
Right. I didn't have access to this stuff. And, I see a lot of people, they do the same thing all the time. And that's just not me either.
Yeah,
I don't like to see, I would like pull my hair out if I had to pull planers every day. It's just like, it would drive me crazy to fish like that every day. Sorry, it's just not me. I want to be able to like challenge myself to go out there and catch fish in like 4 different ways over 4 times a year. Sorry, it's just me. It's how I am. I'm just like, I'm wired like that. And my clients want to see different stuff too. Mm-hmm. I just see it every time they come on board. I was like, what are we going to do? Well, and then when I show them something new, they absolutely love it. So that's another reason. I'm working at getting better all the time. And it's just like with wahoo fishing and using sea witches. Yes, it's standard. But you know what's super challenging is building your own lure and catching a big wahoo on your own lure that you built from scratch versus like going and buying another guy's lure and using it.
And you had that when?
I had that on New Year's Eve. Yesterday. And it's something that I just created on my own, and I hadn't shown anybody, and it did not show up in any of the Good Karma Sport Fishing Group 1 meetings either. This is something that I just like woke up one morning and I was like, okay, it's a new creation, and it works.
New creation.
I got an idea from something. I was like, oh, I bet I could do it like this, and I tied it up and I did it, and I used some things off my shelf, and sure as shit, worked.
Yeah.
So that's my challenge to people. It's like that's and some of the absolute best fishing guides do that.
Yeah.
I've seen one of my, like Jose Wahabi. I go back, and some of these kids don't even know who he is. And I'm like, I asked him, I was like, listen, that guy knew how to catch fish 6 different ways.
Well, and he traveled the world.
And he traveled
all
the world.
The different styles.
And the styles that he learned.
Of fish.
The styles that he learned from
experience.
That he learned from other fishing guides all over the world, and he brought it back to the Keys, and so that's what I like. I don't like to I get like I would poke my eyes out with hot sticks if I had to pull planers every day.
Yeah, Ryan loves the variety. He loves to learn different styles. To have the ability to do what he did would be amazing for you.
Yeah. It was fun as the other day I threw down a big dredge and I trolled it at I figured out how to troll a giant dredge at 12 miles an hour, and I teased up some big wahoo. It was spanking cool, man. So, yeah. So it's just fun to do different stuff. Mm-hmm. So, but challenging yourself, and as I have new ideas, that's what I share in the group, and then the collective is that one of the guys will think of something. Yeah. And then it's I don't know if you guys have ever, a lot of you guys have not been in the corporate world in engineering and stuff, and I have had that luxury of being and working with some top engineers and stuff when I was younger, and I just watched how they worked.
Yeah.
And I was in these big meetings, and I saw how things all came together to create.
It's a puzzle. We're all puzzle pieces.
Huge puzzle.
We're all
huge puzzle,
pieces
and you gotta have certain guys at certain levels that can help put together the pieces. Mm-hmm. And one guy's good at this, the other guy's good at that, and then all of a sudden, boom, you got yourself a collective and something that works.
Yep.
So that's where we're going with the group.
Yep. So, yeah, it's just really exciting. So that is our focus for 2024. My word is expansion, because expansion is also expansion. It's expansion in our groups, expansion in helping people different ways, expansion in our energy, expansion in Ryan's energy for his groups, and the energy within the people is what's really important. So it is important to look at, who do you spend your time with?
Yeah, who do you spend your time with?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who do you spend your time with?
Right.
And these are ways to do that. If you're someone out there that is feeling a little lost, or you could use an energy boost, and these are your passions, whether it's fishing with Ryan, or spirituality, or business with me. Mm-hmm. These are ways for you to switch up your energy and really learn and grow at a faster rate and be happy and excited. And I don't think any of this content is overwhelming. None of it's overwhelming. None of it's going to add to your day, make you stressed out or have anxiety. No. The excuses I hear out there are just ridiculous. And we have really structured our group programs and one-on-one coaching that we both do to not be overwhelming, stressful, or anxiety. So if you're one of those people that's the first response that comes to your mind, seriously do some mindset work around that, because not everything in your life has to be overwhelming, stressful, or full of anxiety. So,
right, exactly.
I'm sick of hearing that. I'm saying no excuses. Yeah, the excuses.
I gotta talk to my wife.
Excuses.
Oh my God.
Excuses.
I see somebody that's
keep on making your excuses, and you're going to be in the same place at the end of 2024.
Gotta talk to my wife.
That you were at the end of this year. And I won't be, and Ryan won't be either. So then y'all can be jealous online. So
oh my God.
Seriously, but that's what goes on out there.
Oh, I know.
People make excuses of why they don't want to show up, why they don't want to do the work, why they don't want to do this. But then they go on social media and they're completely triggered and jealous and comparing. Well, you own that. You fucking own that. You totally own that. You can show up too, and especially with people like Ryan and I who are so willing to share and are quite frankly oversharers. Only you have yourself to blame. You have yourself to blame. So sign up for something, whether it's with me, Ryan, or another program. It doesn't matter. We just want the collective to be rising, and these are opportunities to work together with us. So
Yep.
Yeah. Anything else I missed?
No, I think that's it. That's it for now.
Yeah. So happy New Year again. Please check out Transparency. Their Instagram, I think, is Glass Bottom Boat Islamorada, something like that. But I'm going to put all this in the show notes, so definitely connect with them on Instagram. And if you're down here, book a charter, read the article I wrote. I'm an amazing writer, so I'm always proud to share my work. So please read that article and connect with them and connect with us. I'm on Instagram, Melinda_Van Fleet. I'm also on LinkedIn and YouTube. And how can people find you?
And then I am on Instagram, Good Karma Sport Fishing _FL_keys. And you can visit my website, goodkarmasportfishing.com. And I'm also on YouTube. Florida Keys Fishing with Good Karma Sport Fishing.
Yeah. And my website's melindavanfleet.com. Super easy. Check it out. All my offers are on my website. Everything's there. Super easy. Click around, fill your boots, and connect. I would love to work with you this year. So you wrap it up. First of all, I'll say thanks for listening.
And thank you guys. And remember, anytime you're fishing, it's all good.